Hey everybody, welcome back to this week's show. We're up doing a little bit of bow hunting, and I'll tell you, it is the right time to shoot a giant buck. You know what? I always call it the magical 10, and it is 5 days before the end of October and 5 days into November. It seems like that time frame is when the big bucks will move during the day. Hey, you guys, I hope you guys learn a lot from today's show, and I hope you enjoy the show because we certainly enjoy you guys watching, so hang on to your heinies. Hey, let's talk a little bit about how you want to manage your land. And I'll tell you, water is the #1 source. You got to have good water, you know. And when you look at this farm here, there's a trout stream. We've talked about this in past shows that runs right through the center of it. It is not their main water. It's good water, but it seems like deer like more of a stale water. They like it more muddy. It's just a key source. And I'll tell you what, we had our good neighbor down the road, Whitetail Plots, Jarrett. He came and dug us a couple of water holes this year, and we also put in some earth ponds from our friends over at Rooted Land Management, and I'll tell you, it has made a huge difference. So let's start talking about food. You know, when you start thinking about like deer, I used to raise deer, and they're definitely browsers. You know, they like variety. You know, a lot of people, we do some farming too, a lot of people have that mindset that a deer will just go into a cornfield and stay in that cornfield and eat nothing but corn. I'll tell you, if that deer did that, he would die. Too much heat in his stomach, that kills a deer. So they're browsers. They'll eat some corn, they'll eat some soybeans, they'll eat, you know, acorns, which this year has just been incredible in all across the whole Midwest. The amount of acorns that are falling, I don't think I've ever seen that many. So this year we did something a little bit different. We had our good friends from Rooted Land Management come and plant a few food plots. And at first I was a little bit skeptical because up here I typically plant a lot of broadleaf plants. Like I plant a lot of turnips, I plant a lot of radishes, and I love them big leaves. Now they put a couple different plots in for me, and they really mixed the seeds in. So I have, when you look at this, there's about 6 different types of plants growing in this. And I'll tell you, we have one down the road, a food plot that's a huge food plot. It's almost 6 to 7 acres. And them deer are definitely, that food plot's up about this high because they have mowed it down all the while it was growing. So what I did with this food plot, it's just about 1.25 acres, still a big food plot. But so what I did is I took some hot wire in a solar panel and I put 3 strands around the whole plot right here to kind of let it grow. And that's the problem too. You know, when you guys are planting these small food plots, you want to definitely protect them so them plants can have a chance to grow and mature. The more food, the different types of food, the more you're going to be able to hold these deer in your area. So what I did is I planted 6 apple trees this year here. I've got 2 different varieties, and I always plant bare root trees. You can buy them a little bit cheaper, and for some reason they always seem to be a little bit more hardy. I'm just telling you, you want good results, buy good trees. So what I do with this, these are all apple trees, and what I do is I got them all caged in. If they weren't caged in, they'd be destroyed by now. So it's real simple. I'm just running 3 T-posts. What I do is I use 6-foot wire, and I keep the wire off the ground. I want to get the wire up higher, and then what I do is zip tie it on here. So then when you look inside here, all this is, you know, and you can get perforated or non-perforated. It doesn't really matter. You know, when you think about this year, the amount of drought that we had was phenomenal. So these trees went through a lot of drought. So keeping them weeds down where these trees are planted is crucial because obviously the weeds are going to suck a lot of moisture. So I want all the moisture that we get to go to my trees and not to the grasses and weeds that are growing down below. So that's the main reason right there. And the other part is so I can get this 6-foot fence up a little bit higher so these deer can't, you know, get inside and get at these trees. We are going to talk about so many different things on this show. I know we're going to see a lot of deer, so we're going to be able to show you guys some nice animals. But the key to this show is definitely about learning. And if you guys have something that's been really successful to you, please either email us or message us, because we want to hear your comments. They're important to us. It's a way that we can learn ourselves and we can teach others the right way. Again, it's called adapt, and learn. Hey, you guys, enough of my rambling. Hold on to your heinies. We're going to have a great show for you. Hey everybody, good morning. I'll tell you what an amazing morning it is. It is cold and windy outside and it's snowing like crazy. And I'll tell you, it is November 1st. We are in the prime of the rut. Yesterday, like the light switch came on. The deer are chasing like crazy. I see some does coming into heat. It's amazing how one day can make such a huge difference. I think Pat said he saw 18 or 19 different bucks yesterday. I saw 10. I'm gonna serve these guys up some breakfast. It's about 5 o'clock a.m. We're gonna get these guys out the door and get them in the woods. So you guys hang on to your heinies. Shh, quit talking about them.
What's up? Well, hopefully you're nice and scent-free. Stinky. Oh no, we ain't gonna see nothing today. Scent-free toothbrush.
Scent-free.
There's a big one right there, about 200 yards. See him? What's up everyone, this is Pat with Mag's Custom Rods. This is our second day up here at Larry's farm. Yesterday we had a really good sit. I seen about 20 bucks and a bunch of other does. Today we're getting a bunch of snow and cold weather. I seen some really good ones yesterday that just weren't in shooting range, and I think we should be able to get a shot at them today, so we'll see what happens. The conditions are absolutely perfect.
I'll take my chances with Mother Nature here. Yeah, got these baronet blinds, and I'll tell you, days like today, they are definitely crucial. And the way this wind is, man, I need to keep my scent down a little bit, so I'm going for cover. Yeah, I got a lot more confidence sitting in here. It's amazing, the older you get, the less you really want to kill something. That's the difference between young and old. Don't get me wrong. I still would like to put the arrow through a 150, 160 inch buck, but you know, you never know how long you're actually gonna live, so you gotta start thinking about that kind of stuff. Alright, enough of my riff-raff, double tap, double jab. Let's see what happens here. Yeah, buddy.
We got some real nice photos.
Yeah, it was brutal out there today.
There was a little bit of snow. That's my backpack. It's completely filled, all the openings they don't have zippers on everything. And then it's coming down so hard that this is how I...
Holy. Towards the end of our hunt, we had to put our boots back on.
Well, I knew you guys were going to be able to sit it out in there.
You didn't?
Dude, after, like, I was soaked.
Hey, this is my favorite part of hunting camp. It's the food, and after the food, the conversation. And you guys hang on to your heinies because we're going to have some really good conversation after we get done mowing this food down.
Pork chops, ribs, cheesy potatoes.
Hey, I thought we were supposed to have more pork chops. What happened?
I think
We left the guy in charge. He says, hey, go pick them other guys up. I'm like, are you sure you got everything under control? He's going to cook 6 big stuffed pork chops. Come back, there's only 2 left. He let the dogs get the pork chops. One simple job.
The dogs took them right out of the pan on the stove.
Yeah.
I didn't get a pork chop.
Hey everybody, what a great meal. Thanks Jim for cooking that up. You know, like I said before, you know what? My favorite time is always anytime that there's food on the table. And tonight we're going to talk a little table talk. You know, I got to tell you this scenario. So 2 days ago, I'm about in the evening, I'm about 100 to 150 yards from Big Jim here. And he kept grunting like over and over. Like every 15 minutes, he kept grunting. Every 20 minutes. It seemed like about every 2 minutes, right? And then if it wasn't a grunt, it was a doe bleep. If it wasn't a doe bleep, it was a rattle bass, right?
And deer were flying in there.
Yeah, right. You know, there's a lot to that, and I definitely think different places, different things work for sure. And you know, it works for you at home apparently, otherwise you wouldn't be doing it, right? Well, here, that kind of stuff doesn't work very well, you know, and I think the big part is, you know, for one thing, at home you're probably hunting flat ground. Here, you're hunting big valleys and ridges, and so the sound is totally different. They pinpoint things a lot easier. The only time that I really feel that, for me, that is really crucial to have the grunt call and to grunt is when you do see a buck, and it's a buck that you want to shoot, is to try to get that buck, if he's going away from you, to try to get him to turn back. And when you can literally see that buck and you grunt, you can see how he reacts to it. You know, I've had them where you see that big buck and he's going away from you, and all of a sudden you grunt and he stops, but he doesn't really even turn his head. And then, you know, you try a deeper grunt, and then all of a sudden that's what catches his attention, you know. And to me, that's the big thing right there. Again, to be able to watch that animal and see how he reacts to it versus just grunting blind. You know, I know a lot of people are probably going to be out there saying, hey, I grunt all the time and it works for me. I don't know what you're talking about. You know, I definitely want you guys to comment and or message us. I want to hear what your results are and how these things all work for you, because for me, it definitely doesn't work. Anything you guys want to add to any of this?
Well, I did grunt today.
Okay.
3 times in the 13 hours.
It wasn't every 15 minutes.
No. I only did 3 grunt sequences the whole day, just because it was slow. Like I knew.
Well, sometimes it's a mindset too. It just you need to grunt just to say, like, you know, you got nothing to lose.
Yeah, but typically I only grunt if I see something going away. But 2 out of those 3 times, buck was in there within 5 minutes. Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
But they weren't like big, but they're decent 8s.
Okay.
And I was like, 2 out of 3. That's not bad.
Think about if Big Jim was in there, how many bucks he would have saw.
He had 20, 30 of them in there.
Yeah.
He would have been grunting about every 3 minutes if that was the case on
but
that.
when I hit any of like the big bucks I wanted to come closer, they didn't even look. I mean, they would stop and then just go. So they weren't really interested in it at all. I didn't hear any grunts today either, but yesterday I did hear some deer fighting, which was cool. I didn't see it.
You know what's interesting is that yesterday you saw approximately 21 different bucks, 21, 23, whatever the number was, a lot of bucks. So almost 80 deer. Today you were in the same stand, same wind, but what happened, the wind was much stronger today, and we got dumped on with about 6 inches of snow. Hey everybody, I hope you guys enjoyed our table talk here. Hey, again, if you guys have any questions or if there's something you want to teach us, we're always willing to learn. That's the great part about the outdoors, is that a lot of people are interested in sharing the things that work for them. So make sure you guys email us at Larry Smith Outdoors or message us on Facebook. We love hearing from you. Hey, you guys, hang on to your heinies. We got more to come on this show.
It's almost like the days when you had a Harley and you were waving to the guy on a bike. You see another warrior on the water, you just get a good feel.
First class, all the way from the people that ride them to the people that make them.
They do such a nice job with communication. They'll pick up the phone anytime. It's really almost a friendship.
You could be in any state, and when somebody with a warrior drives by you, you get that honk, that beep. You're truly part of a family, and there's nothing like it.
You know what? My mom always said, don't talk with your mouth full. But I'll tell you something, once in a while you run across things that are just so darn good that it doesn't, you break every rule you can possibly break. Hey, I'll tell you what, today we're in the studio and we're gonna be making some beef jerky, but it's not beef, it's venison. Hey Nate, how's it going, man?
Good, Larry, how are you?
Let's tell everybody who you are.
I'm Nate Moshinsky, I'm from Lamira.
You're not just Nate, you are a builder, right?
Yeah, I build houses. That's how I met Larry. Went on a fishing trip with him this summer, sponsored by Drexel. Brought some of my jerky along that I make out of venison, and Larry loved it, so.
Nate, you say you're not an expert, but this is some of the best venison jerky I've ever had. So let's show everybody really what the key is to making good jerky.
So it's super easy. I mean,
you say
not
that.
hard at all.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess I got to figure it out, but I can show everybody how to do it, and it's really easy.
Okay, so what piece of meat do you have here?
This is one of the roasts, and I mean, I think there's 4 roasts in the back hindquarters of a deer, and I do not use the round roast.
Okay.
It has a lot of different like silver skin and tendons in it. I don't use that. That one, hamburger, stuff like that. But these other roasts are pure meat. I clean them up. There's no silver skin, no white, no slime on it. I make sure it's really clean, right?
Even though it's just venison, and it's just jerky.
Yes.
Okay, interesting.
But see that silver skin right there? I'm taking all that off. You don't want to be chewing on that, you know? I got some more to take off there, but we'll slice it right down the middle.
Ooh, that looks good.
Yeah. I always slice against the grain. That's why you can pull it apart so easily, stuff like that. We're going to slice it like 1/4 to 3/8 inch thick.
And basically you're just using a fillet knife,
Yep,
right?
Just a typical fillet knife. Something like that. I mean,
it looks pretty thick. Yeah, it does.
But it cooks down.
Okay.
So we're going to get all that sliced up, throw it in the dehydrator, 6 hours, 160 degrees, come back, and then...
Ready to rock and roll.
Perfect.
Hey, the great part about this is that obviously we have Chard and Nesco for a sponsor, so we have several different types of dehydrators, and we have, you know, anything from small dehydrators that you can use in your house, or, you know, if you want to start doing big batches of whatever you want to dehydrate, you can use some of the bigger units they have here. But the cool part is that you can just set them for whatever time that you want and leave it and go.
That's key. And I always come back and I make sure the jerky is completely cooled down too, because you'll try it and it'll, like, if it's still warm, it'll taste moist. But it just has to dry out and cool off.
Okay.
So that's big too, because a lot of guys will go in and set it for an extra hour or something. You don't want to do that, then you're going to overcook it.
Okay, and I seem to have that problem. I like to overcook things.
So yeah, we're going to get this all cut up. We're going to throw the seasoning in. I usually let it sit overnight. I like letting it marinate as long as possible, and I'll mix it once or twice in that period, because get everything mixed around and spread the seasoning out a little more, you know. Another key to this jerky is whatever it says on the package, I like to go under. Because
why is that?
I don't know. I feel like you get more flavor out of it. So if it says 5 pounds, I'll keep it around 4 or something. Okay. 3.5. In this instance, it's a 2-pound package. So we have about 4 pounds, and we're going to use 2 packages, which is 4 pounds worth. So yeah, we want to make sure we break up all these chunks, because sometimes those chunks will not break up. Looks pretty good. I think we'll go with the water.
Needed 2 of them or 1?
Nope, just 1. Give that a good mix. The more you mix it, the more the flavor gets tossed around in there.
Yep.
Plenty of racks in these dehydrators. So
right.
Might as well use them.
That's a nice part about too when you're using a bigger one. So you do leave some space in there. Yeah.
I mean, not a lot, but I mean, nothing should be on top of each other, you know, something like that.
So you want to let it marinate overnight. And like you were saying before, really the key is, if you can, a couple times before you go to bed or whatever, if you're doing it during the day, try to at least turn it over a few times, you know, 2 or 3 times to kind of get that seasoning mixed in that meat pretty evenly. Room temperature, or you put it back in the refrigerator?
Nope, I cover this up and it goes in the refrigerator overnight.
Okay.
So then I take it out in the dehydrator, like I said, 6 hours, 160 degrees, and then let it sit, let it cool down in there, come back hours later, and it's good to go. Finished product.
The finished product looks pretty darn good. Yeah. And I'll tell you, again, let's tell everybody how long. Oh, just over 6 hours is absolutely perfect.
I just set these at 6 hours, 160 degrees, and it comes out looking like this. Obviously, it's shrunk down quite a bit, but that's perfect. It rips apart real easy.
Hey, everybody, thanks for joining us. I hope you guys and gals learned a little bit something about how to make jerky, because I certainly did, and I'll tell you, the final results are absolutely awesome. What a great time we had hunting. You know, this is one of the first hunting shows we actually have done where we didn't shoot a deer, but we saw plenty of deer, and the future looks really good. Hey, I want to thank, you know what, Nate for coming in this week too and showing us the proper way to make your own jerky. You know what, it's all about utilizing that venison, and I'll tell you, if you guys are interested in making your own jerky out of your deer, you definitely want to check out Nate's recipe. Hey, we want to thank all of our military men and women like we do each and every week, because we know how important it truly is for these people, the things that they do for us, and we thank you very much. Also want to thank all of our fighter fighters and paramedics, and no doubt all of our law enforcement agents. Hey, remember you guys, check out all of our social media too, and you know what? It is a great day to be alive, and we'll see you guys and gals again next week, and thanks for joining us. Food second for sure. And dogs. Oh, are you ready?
Oh, you're wondering why I'm not like whispering like most TV shows? Well, because the wind is 25 to 35 miles an hour.